What's going on? Vincent Rapsardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com. Thank you to those who like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate you guys. Make sure to turn the notification bell on so every time I post, you get a notification, and you can come join in on the conversation. So the last couple of videos I've done, talked about Darnay Holmes, talked about Leonard Williams, Will Hernandez, Alex Bachman in the last video. I'm going to start out this video with some unfortunate news. Xavier McKinney, rookie second-round safety, has fractured his foot. So he's going to be out a few months. This is obviously bad news for the Giants, but there is hope, according to Jordan Raanan, that McKinney could return some point later in the year. Now, the Giants, their first-round pick from 2019, DeAndre Baker, obviously he will not be starting week 1 for them. Xavier McKinney, now they lose him, their second-round pick from this year. He won't be starting for them week 1 either. Sam Beal has opted out. They signed Brandon Williams, a corner, a former third-round pick from the Arizona Cardinals, but he had a passer rating of about 136 last year on 7 targets. So he's not exactly a guy you're just going to throw out there and trust. He's a depth option at best at this point. So they're thin, and they've lost a couple of starters to their secondary. Now, I know this sounds a little clickbaity, but I'm going to do it anyway. They may have to go out and sign Earl Thomas. They may actually have to go out and do that because when it comes to the secondary, you got to be good these days. In terms of pass defense EPA, of the bottom 16 teams last year, only 4 of them made the postseason, and the top 5 teams in that category were 57 and 23. So you need to be good against the pass in today's NFL. You have to be, right? And I know Earl Thomas, he was obviously released for conduct detrimental to the team. So that kind of goes against Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman. They've tried to build a strong culture. So again, that kind of goes against what they're trying to do. But at the same time, you got to win football games, right? The Giants need to make some progress. They need to make some progress this year. Their fan base is not going to accept a 3-win season. They got to win 6 or 7 games and at least put themselves in the conversation of making the playoffs. They have to do that. And you don't want the Joe Judge era to get off to a 2 or 3 win season kind of start. That's going to look really bad, especially with the way he coaches. Remember, the way he coaches is very old school. People don't like it, and the media is going to pile on, and they're going to say, wow, this really doesn't work, this old school thing, and they're just going to keep writing about how it doesn't work, and it's going to be a disaster. Like I said, the secondary, you got to have good players back there. You got to be good in the secondary to win games in the NFL these days. So, especially if you look at, like, what if Julian Love misses a couple games? What if Darnay Holmes misses a couple games? You're really, really thin in the secondary at that point then. So, Earl Thomas, the Giants may just have to go out and give him a look and maybe go out and sign him. Last season, Thomas allowed a passer rating of 24.2 on 25 targets, didn't allow a touchdown, 2 interceptions, so he's still a good football player, and the Giants just may have to go out and give him a chance. The Giants also got some bad news on linebacker David Mayo. He tore his meniscus, and he looked like he was going to be a starter. Last year, 82 tackles, started 13 games, a passer rating of around 82, so he performed fairly well for a guy that they added right before the start of the season last year. So it looks like Devontae Downs, who has been impressive, apparently he has really caught the eye of Joe Judge. They like what he's done, so it looks like Devontae Downs may have a legitimate chance of starting next to Blake Martinez, and of course they have Ryan Connolly as well. A few other interesting news stories that I saw on Twitter, specifically from Jordan Raanan of ESPN. Apparently, Joe Judge wants Daniel Jones to take off the red jersey at some point in camp, take a couple of hits, in some way get him used to game action. Apparently, Saquon Barkley is also running very good routes during camp, looks good as a receiver. And look, when the Giants drafted him 2nd overall, it wasn't just to hand him the football, right? Like a typical handoff, like a typical running back. They got to use him in any way possible, get the football in his hands, right? He's an incredibly talented playmaker. He's not just a running back, he's a playmaker. Put him in the slot, put him on the perimeter, do whatever you want, hand the football out to him, whatever way you can do, whatever way you can give the ball to him and put the ball in his hands and let him make a play, go out and do it. That's why you took him 2nd overall, right? And you passed up on good players. You took a guy who can make plays. Do whatever you can to allow him to make plays. And the final thing that I want to talk about, Lorenzo Carter and Evan Ingram, apparently they got into a fight during practice yesterday. Lorenzo Carter took his helmet, Evan Ingram's helmet, threw it, had to run a lap. I just find that to be an interesting camp story. It seems like stuff like that happens every year for just about every team during camp. I'll tell you what, this would have been an interesting football team to have on Hard Knocks. That would have been the Giants right now. They would be a very interesting Hard Knocks team, especially with Joe Judge. I think it's good for their sake that they are not on Hard Knocks. The attention that it draws, especially a New York football team, I think there would be too much drama. And that's not what the Giants want. The Giants need to start winning football games. So that's all I got. Vincent Rapsardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com. Thank you to those who have liked, commented, and subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Vincent Rapsardi, and make sure to turn notifications on so every time I post, you get a notification. Thanks again, Vincent Rapsardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com.